Good morning, church. Well, we've come to that day that's fairly special in all our lives. We all have one. Everybody has that day they call birthdays. And now I'm not making this for everyone to send me birthday wishes. It's part of my vlog for today because you see, as I get ready to embark on my next trip around the sun, this becomes very personal for me. My birthday's never been a favorite day of mine. I don't like the attention, strangely enough. I just have I've never felt, yeah, it's just one of those days I just for some reason don't enjoy. It's got nothing to do with aging, but the last couple of years I found myself really in deep reflection on this day. And the reason for that is that as I embark on my next trip around the sun, this will be my 69th trip around the sun. I cannot believe I've hit 69 today. And where the reflection comes in is that I can remember my parents. I've outlived my dad now. I've outlived my dad by several months, and now I'm closing in on my mother's length of life because she passed away when she was 69. She was called to glory. So, these days have a special meaning to me because as I have been blessed to live this life that I'm living with the most wonderful person in the world as my wife and the absolute joy of a daughter that he gave us. I can't say my life's been perfect. We've had some really hard times through it. We've had some really good times through it. We've enjoyed our riches. We've enjoyed our poverty, and we've been had great jobs. We've had no jobs, but he settled me down several years ago, about 15 years ago or so, to to find my path in ministry. And this, strangely enough, when I was 12 years old and they asked what I wanted to do when I grew up, I wanted to play professional football, and I got almost as far as high-end college ranks. I wanted to be a veterinarian or I wanted to be a preacher, a minister. Well, I never did become a veterinarian and I never did make it to the NFL, but as you can see, I became a preacher. Later in life, it took a while for God to use the 2x4 in the back of my head. Actually, it was that long before I was actually physically ready to step into this role of pastoral ministry. But through that time, certain scriptures then became very, very prominent for me. And I say this now because I want to reflect this over to you. As you reflect on your life as you go through a birthday, I don't know if you do or not, but if you do, it's a good thing to note that you haven't done this alone, that God has been with you the whole time, and He's shown you how to go, and we don't haven't always taken the path that He's given us. The 16th Psalm says, "You show me the path of life." He shows us the path of life, the path that we should take. That's why when I say God's got this, I talk about this as an Ephesians 2 movement. What does that mean? Well, Ephesians 2 has got some magnificent verses in it regarding grace and faith and the whole part of that builds up to create our lives. And the first thing though is that we have to bring ourselves to that point that Hebrews 11 tells us, that faith is believing in what we can't see. In John 20:29, Jesus responded to the doubt that Thomas had by saying, "Do you believe because you see me? Happy are those who don't see me and yet believe." So I have to look now back on my life at this point, and why am I outliving my parents? For one, well, they had a much harder life than I did at an early age, which most of our parents did. My dad, and through the Second World War and the injuries he received, and the work that he did after the war. My mother and her family, were Holocaust survivors. It's a very interesting breakdown that if you want to get a hold of me someday, I'm sure I'll be happy to share with you. But that's not the point here. The point here is that I am their son, and they gave me all that they possibly could through their lives as my parents. I was been blessed. My brother and I were so blessed to have the parents that we had. They would go without, but they would give to me. This sounds very disjointed, but it's something I reflect on. I try to do the same now for my daughter. Because you see, God showed them the path of their life, and the path of their life revolved around their kids. That became their major purpose for everything they did. And in my case, so much that I do is to benefit my daughter. Because the greatest thing that we can give our children is opportunity. And that's one of the things that's gone by the wayside right now. So God has shown me the path of life, and God and I believe in him even though I don't see him. And I'm happy about that. You know? So when I say God's got this, I know that he has guided me to the point in my life where I am. You may be sitting there at a junction in your life, or a point in your life. You may be going through a crisis. Something may be going on in your life right now. I want you to sit back, take a deep breath, and let God show you. Let God light your path. You believe in him. And if you don't believe in him, I understand, but he wants you to believe him, not to believe in him, but to believe him, and he will make you happy. It will make you completely and totally wonderfully warm inside. And that's what John Wesley said. When he first came to know God there on Aldersgate, he said his heart was strangely warmed, and that's what happens. And I want to leave you today I want to leave you today with this as I reflect back on my 68 years, I went in my 69th year, and I see that the important part of my life has been the season that he's put me in now, which is that season of pastoral ministry, because it's drawn me so close to him and brought me to such a point where I'm so happy to share him and proclaim him. He's claimed me, and I'd love him to claim you. And I want to leave you with this verse that says, "But because of his great love for us, God, who is rich in mercy, made us alive with Christ, even when we were dead in transgressions." Friends, that Ephesians 2 movement, it is by grace that you have been saved. The Bible says in Ephesians 2:4. Because of his great love for us and how rich he is in mercy. And he's made us alive with Christ, even though we sin. And it took me many years to finally understand that. And I hope that by sharing this with you, it'll bring you to that point where you will feel that. And in that, you will find the greatest love, and you will find the greatest peace. So I leave you with that today, my friends. My birthday wish is that you will be able to experience this God who is rich in mercy. What a gift that will be, because he loves you, so do I. And God bless you. Keep safe, keep healthy, have peace, and I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.